some of your time. Okay. So once again, welcome everyone. And one more reminder, just so you know, dear friends, this presentation will be available for you on our YouTube channel, Pro Imagen Costa Rica, and we will let you know. So you will have it afterwards. And let me just start with some information for you. Okay, friends. So just before I turn off my camera, just make sure everyone to turn off your audio and your video. And very soon when I start the PowerPoint presentation, I will make sure that I turn off my video so you can see the whole screen. Okay, okay, dear friends, just before we start, on behalf of Grupo Pro Imagen and the Costa Rica Tourism Board, welcome. And we are here to help each other to work together so that after this whole situation is under control, we can come back stronger. So, dear friends, sometimes people wonder what is the situation with the COVID-19 in Costa Rica, and I will make sure to refer you to the official websites where you can check constantly the updates. Every day our government and our authorities of the Ministry of Health give an update at 12:45 Costa Rica time. Now it's 12:02. So I'm gonna tell you what's happening as for yesterday, the last report we had yesterday. There were a total of 882 people infected in Costa Rica since COVID arrived to the country on March 6th. And most of them are recovered already. 577 people up to yesterday were recovered, which means about 290 active cases in the country. There were 16 new cases yesterday. Unfortunately, 10 people have died in Costa Rica from COVID, but the authorities seem to be doing a very good job controlling the situation. We will have time for questions at the end of this presentation. If you need to keep checking on a daily basis with the situation of Costa Rica, go to the visitcostarica.com website. That's for the Tourism Board of Costa Rica. And there is a section there that will give you all the data about COVID-19. Also, Ministerio de Salud.go.cr. I'll make sure that I type it on the chat so you can have those official websites. Or of course, you can ask us at proimagencostarica.com. So I would not go too deep into that. Just well, that's the situation in Costa Rica. 10 people have died, unfortunately. 290 active cases, and other than that, there seems to be control. Okay, so let me just turn off my video and start our presentation here. Okay. Okay, just making sure that so far everybody can hear me. Just a quick report, if you can type quickly there on the chat, if everybody can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, very good. It seems to be working. I'm gonna go now on and share the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, here we go. All right, sorry, let me just go to the beginning and the format of slide presentation. Okay, here we go. Okay, friends, just a quick reminder, if you can.
Friday morning, you were opening your calendar so you could go cruise around. Got it. Okay. Well, sorry to interfere.
No problem. No problem. We're just starting, so you're good.
Okay.
Okay, just
anything else at this point?
just make sure you turn off your videos and audios, and at the end of our presentation, we will have time for questions for sure. Okay, and here we go. Okay, friends. So once again, on behalf of the Costa Rica Tourism Board, which is the entity in charge of the regulation of the activity of tourism in Costa Rica, and on behalf of Grupo Pro Imagen, we want to thank you for joining us and for taking the time. So here we go. So who is Grupo Pro Imagen? Okay, this is a picture of the board of directors of Grupo Pro Imagen. Well, Grupo Pro Imagen is an association of private companies of the private sector, 93 members that we're working together, including hotels, tour operators, well, travel agencies, car rentals, local airlines. So we can put all together a very nice package and program for you so you can have your partners here in the country. My name is Ronald Calvo. I have met probably a lot of you on the seminars that we have been giving, Grupo Pro Imagen, in different cities of Canada and the United States in the previous years. And well, it is a pleasure to share with you this information. I have been in the tourism business for 25 years, and my background is in geography, and I also have a degree in ecotourism from the University of Costa Rica. And I have worked also as a travel agent, a naturalist, and an adventure guide. So the idea here is to share with you. Okay, friends, so if you can turn off your videos and audios, that will help us to provide a better connection, a stronger internet signal here. Okay, Costa Rica off the beaten path. Maybe the ones who have been to Costa Rica, if you look at this photo right there now, maybe you will think that this is near Monteverde Cloud Forest in the central part of Costa Rica by the mountains, but this is actually close to the Central Valley in a place that not many people are familiar with. And even people from Cartago, I am from the province of Cartago, and that's where this picture belongs. And many people from here do not know the Pasquí volcanic craters. So that's on the way up to Irasu volcano. And that's the whole idea, to give you information about those sites that are a little bit isolated. Dear friends, if I can kindly ask you to turn off your cameras and videos, that will help us to get a better connection. So make sure you turn off your videos and your audio. Okay, so this slide right now, friends, is just showing you the different tourist regions in which the Tourism Board of Costa Rica has divided Costa Rica for the planning of the activity, a better planning. And this is what we're going to be basing the attractions that we will be describing on. Even though it shows here 7 main regions, the Caribbean side, for example, the one on green, we're going to divide it into the North Caribbean and South Caribbean. Same thing with the North Pacific on the purple color. We're going to talk about Guanacaste North and Guanacaste South, and then Northern Plains. So this is the general map of regions of Costa Rica. But today we're going to be talking also about something that started an effort getting united and together and connected. In 2003, some small effort that do not necessarily have all the tools for marketing and to letting travel agents know about their product, because either they're in remote places or they do not have huge companies. These are small entrepreneurs. So they have been finding the ways to work all together to do this marketing. So we're going to be talking about places that are all about sustainable development, about being responsible with the use of natural resources, and being responsible also with the use of or the respect to the cultures and the communities that people visit. So there are 3 main components here: the natural beauty, the day-by-day activities in rural communities, and this involves cultural attractions, because culture refers to everything done by the human being. And then dynamics of agricultural activities. It's very fun and interesting to learn where many things that we usually eat are coming from. So as you can see in the variety of pictures here, we can even include small cities, like this picture on the upper left side. It's a neo-Gothic church that is in the north of the Central Valley, northeast of San Jose, in a region called Coronado, that offers off the beaten path attractions. Then the North Pacific, Guanacaste, then farms, organic farms, indigenous communities. So let's start from the Caribbean to the Pacific side. We're going to start with the North Caribbean region. I bet many of you that offer Tortuguero as a destination, you might think that the picture on the upper left is Tortuguero Canals. That's actually farther north from Tortuguero. It's a very similar type of environment that we have on the Northern Caribbean region, and that's called Barra del Colorado. So it is a little more remote. Imagine if Tortuguero is so pristine already. If you go farther north, you're going to find a place of farther access to say that will get you immersed in nature, and there are services there. Then there are conservation projects in the North Caribbean of Costa Rica, also for turtles. Pacuare Reserve is a region located between the Tortuguero canals and the city of Limon, which is farther south in the Central Caribbean region. So in between those two regions, there is this reserve where they offer conservation projects, and you can do volunteer work. And there is also sport fishing in that same region, in the Parismina River mouth into the Caribbean Sea. There is some fly fishing activities that are offered. And agrotourism, if we are still in the North Caribbean region, there are some families that work in community projects or in their own organic farms. Then Earth University, which is, by the way, one that has a very strong reputation as one of the best green campuses on Earth, and they bring students from third world countries and train them to become engineers in agriculture and in organic production and sustainability. And that's a campus that you can visit and learn about all what they do to create agents of change that can go back to their nations and tell their people how to act responsibly. Indigenous reservations also are one of the beaten path attractions in the North Caribbean region. When you're driving from the Central Valley to the Caribbean coast, you're getting near the Chirripó River. It's probably the largest river you're going to cross as you drive on Highway 32. And somewhere near Chirripó, there is the access to start a hike that will take you up to the Cabecars Indigenous Reservation. If we talk about the South Caribbean part, most of people will think immediately of Cahuita National Park, which has the largest coral reef of the country, and then Puerto Viejo and Manzanillo. But there is more than that in the South Caribbean region. There is access also to indigenous reservations. You can either stay in those locations that I just mentioned, and from there take one-day activities, one-day tours or visits to your kin or to the Bribri indigenous reservation. So there is also an access to the Cabecars from that part, from the South Caribbean. So it's three different indigenous groups. Even though Costa Rica is not known for having for having had in pre-colonial times large indigenous empires, there is a big legacy, an important legacy in our country that had become a cultural bridge between the North and the South. So agrotourism is also an activity that can be practiced in the South Caribbean. There are still some regions that are growing the cacao, the cocoa, and the upper left photo on the slide is showing you also lots of birds. There is a place actually when you're visiting the Bribri, is a place called Quecoldi. which is amazing for birding. When the great migration of birds starts, they are gonna come through the South Caribbean, and there is a tower where you can watch lots of birds of prey, many birds that are migrating just before the winter comes to the northern hemisphere. So that picture is not exaggerating anything. They count sometimes up to 200,000 individuals flying in that spot. So, but we're talking about millions of birds that are coming and making their way through Kekoldi. Then horseback riding is an activity that can be practiced in the South Caribbean. Canoeing, those are regions of very, very pristine rivers in the middle of the rainforest, and you can take activities where you can go canoeing. Remember that gallery forests or the riverside forests are very good sites to see wildlife. You have access from the South Caribbean also to take one-day tours or half-day tours to see waterfalls. And the mountains of Talamanca Mountain Range are very close to the coastline on the South Caribbean. So that means steep topographies as well, and that creates the conditions for rivers to form waterfalls. And of course, the snorkeling, you cannot skip it in Cahuita, which is a more known site. So, dear friends, just once again, if you don't mind, please turn off your video camera. Please turn off your video camera, and I will appreciate it. It's just interfering a little bit with my screen here on my presentation. So let's move on now to the northern plains. We just left the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, and we're moving on to the northern plains, which is a vast region. So this is why I mentioned that some of the regions on this presentation we're going to divide into two sub-regions. In this case, we're going to be talking about the northern plains and the Sarapiquí region specifically. So what does Sarapiquí have to offer? Many of you might be familiar with some organizations for tropical studies. Kathy, would you mind, Kathy Gordon, would you mind turning off your video, please? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So in Sarapiquí is a region that is known for the production of the heart of palm. When I was growing up, the heart of palm was a delicacy that we would eat only, or most of the time, for Easter week, during Easter week. And now we have big plantations in the area of Sarapiquí because we export the heart of palm. Again, it's a delicacy. It's a very interesting product, and you can learn all the process about it, and even have your meal based on different types of dishes that are prepared out of the heart of palm. You can make a heart of palm ceviche, use heart of palm instead of fish. You can make heart of palm bread, rice with heart of palm, you name it, and it's delicious, very healthy. So that's just one example of something different that you can do in the region of Sarapiquí that is known or positioned for other activities that are amazing too. Then here you have something to combine with. There are organic farms within that region, women's cooperatives that have started to work together, women that work in banana plantations, or also some families that run their small entrepreneur tourist attraction based on what they do on a daily basis of production of organic products, and you can learn all about it. As you can see on the photo on the upper side, also on the right side of the slide, there is the Bajos del Toro Falls. There is access to Bajos del Toro waterfalls through the Central Valley when you come through Sarchí, that many of you might be familiar with, which is the town of the Costa Rican artisans. But there is also access to Bajos del Toro from the Sarapiquí region, and these rivers end up flowing into the northern plains or northern lowlands. Still in the northern plains, but now moving more towards the central part and the west side of the northern plains, we have all kinds of activities there too. Birding. There are some places that are very close to the San Juan River, which is the border between Costa Rica and Nicaragua, that are well known as hot spots for bird watching. And this adds another interesting element, which is the cultural element in communities that are located very close to the to the Caribbean coast. 1 second. Okay, so the photos that you're seeing also on the left side of our slide, that's the Caño Negro Wildlife Refuge. I am sure that you have heard about it, but there are different ways to access the Caño Negro Wildlife Refuge. Many people, the most traditional way is to go all the way up to Los Chiles, which is also very close to the border with Nicaragua. Actually, there is also access to the border with Nicaragua through the river. But you can visit this wildlife refuge through the central part of it, where you actually get to the water mirrors that are permanent water mirrors. So that keeps a lot of wildlife in sight. As you can see, caimans, great egrets, seasonally roseate spoonbills. I mean, a whole variety of birds that you can see from the heart of the Caño Negro Wildlife Refuge. There is also in the northern plains some caves, one of the two areas in Costa Rica where we offer this activity, and you can explore the caves on horizontal underground rivers. So it is a fascinating place. This one you can visit either if you have guests staying in Sarapiquí or if you have guests staying in Arenal, and they can take their one-day activity to these caves. And something nice about it is that you're supporting the local community, which is in charge of providing the services of the equipment, the flashlights, the helmets, and all the gear that is necessary and mandatory to wear as you enter the caves. Then there is also the Maleco Indigenous Reservation. As you're driving through the northern plains by the area of San Rafael de Guatuso, you're going to be seeing on the roadside some gazebos that belong to the Maleco indigenous community. And then you can also walk and go deeper into the mountain to the heart of their indigenous reservation, and you can experience a lot of their traditions. Something very interesting about this indigenous group is that as one of the traditions that they still keep is they're allowed, even by the Ministry of Health of Costa Rica, to bury their people in their homes. If people die of a natural cause, they are buried inside their homes. Interesting anecdote just to share with you. Once a child was asking, how do they do that? Aren't they afraid of burying people in their homes? And then one Maleco native said, my answer to this is, how can you be afraid of the one that you love? You have to feel more fear of the people that you don't know that are out there. So another interesting attraction in the northern plains, moving farther towards the west side, is a region called Bijagua in the county of Upala. Bijagua is a place that did not exist in the tourist map of Costa Rica. In 1995, actually, my thesis in ecotourism was there in Bijagua de Upala, starting with 8 low-income families that had nothing, dirt floor homes, no electricity. So they got land on a lease by the government, and they got support of an area of conservation. And they did start this ecotourism project, and today it has become one of the 12 hotspots for bird watching in Costa Rica. And there are lots of options of lodging and cabins to stay in the area. Actually, the picture, the lower picture there, the hanging bridge, is in Bijagua de Upala, in one of these ecotourism projects. Also, there are pristine hot springs in that region. If you go farther west to the north flank of Rincón de la Vieja volcano on the Caribbean slope, it looks very different than the Rincón de la Vieja that you're familiar with. And when you go there, you're going to find hot springs. You're going to find some blue rivers, blue water rivers like Pénjamo and the famous Rio Celeste. Celeste in Spanish means light blue. And this is an optical phenomenon more than a chemical phenomenon, which is on the waterbed of the Rio Celeste. There is a concentration of aluminum silicates. And what it does is it absorbs all the colors of the spectrum, but it only refracts the light blue. So it is a visual effect. and it looks literally sky blue. So those are some of the attractions that you can find in the Northern Plains. A quick reminder to everyone, I promise at the end of our presentation, we're gonna have a section for questions. So turn off videos and audios, and we're gonna move on now to the Pacific slope. We're leaving, crossing the continental divide now. We're moving on towards the Pacific slope of the mountains of Costa Rica, which run in the center as the spine of our country. So we're on the North Pacific region. This is Guanacaste specifically, and Bagaces is one county in the province of Guanacaste that offers product that you're more familiar with from other regions, but in more remote places. So there are, I am sorry, I cannot see here with this video that is on, I cannot see my slide. I just moved it down here. So please turn off your videos so I can see my slides clearly. In the North Pacific region, in the area of Bagaces, Guanacaste, we have a volcano also, the Miravalles volcano, and that's in a region that we know as the clean energy district. Why? Because at shouting distance, you have geothermal plants, you have a windmill farm, you have a solar plant. There is even a hydroelectric project, all within the county of Bagaces in a region called Fortuna de Bagaces and Guayabo de Bagaces. So the images that you're seeing there on the upper side, on the right-hand side, the top image is mud pots and bubble springs that are there near the steam reservoirs. The solar energy plant down below, on the foothill of Miravalles volcano, you can see the volcano right behind. This was a donation of Japan, that when they started this solar energy project, it was a donation of $9 million to develop it. Then if you continue coming close to the town of Bagaces, which is like the main town in the county, you're going to be close to some waterfalls called Llanos de Cortés waterfalls. And this is a place where you have to pay a fee to the municipality, and then it's within a 5-minute walk that you're going to be from the parking lot, having access right there to the waterfall of Llanos de Cortés. The picture in the lower section is a national park that is also known among bird watchers. If you're not a bird watcher, most of people usually do not stop in that national park called Palo Verde, and that can make a very nice transition when you're going either from San Jose or Central Pacific to the North Pacific, or when you're going from Monteverde to the North Pacific region. And you can take a detour and visit this amazing national park. It is in a lower section of a tectonic depression, so you see the river, the Tempisque River, meandering down there. Those meanders, or S-shaped waterbeds, happen usually in the oldest stage in evolution of rivers. It's a fascinating place with a very interesting type of soil that in Costa Rica there are only 3 regions that you can find that type of soil. It's full of clay, so that allows the formation of natural water mirrors during the rainy season, and it attracts a lot of water birds. But there are also amazing limestone formations and some really nice hikes that you can take within the national park. A small river cruise through the river, through the Tempisque River, to look for crocodiles and monkeys and mangroves, and then biking as some of the activities that you can do. So we're going to move on from Bagaces in the North Pacific region. One second, that now my slide is okay. There we go. Still in the North Pacific region of Costa Rica. We are, let me move this video again. Okay. We are in the North Pacific region, Guanacaste North, and this means that we're very close to the border with Nicaragua. What kind of the beaten path attractions you can find there? Well, there is La Cruz. La Cruz just started building a larger hotels recently. I would say, if I'm not wrong, no more than maybe 6-7 years ago. There are some other smaller properties or hotels where you can stay, and La Cruz has very, very pristine beaches, beautiful lookout points. If you were with me a couple of weeks ago during the adventure tours webinar, I was speaking about one of the two areas in Costa Rica where we have the wind surfing. So from La Cruz, the picture that you see in the middle is one of many beaches that you find there, where it's so windy that you can see the sand dunes that form on that coastline. Rajada is one of the beaches, Salinas Bay, and then if you continue farther south, you make it to Junquillal Beach, which is another Junquillal. We have other Junquillal close to Tamarindo that more people know, especially surfers. This is a Junquillal, a bay up in the north side of Santa Rosa National Park. By the way, the photo on the upper right side is Naranjo Beach, and you can see there Witch's Rock, the huge rock in the middle of the ocean, and we spoke about that also on the Adventure the Tours webinar as a big destination for surfers. So Naranjo Beach is a place that you can access after hiking for 13 kilometers. That's, let's see, about 7.7 miles, 8 miles, let's say, from Santa Rosa, from La Casona, or the historic site, to the coastline. And there are amazing mangroves there. It's a beautiful way to explore and experience the tropical dry forest and to reach an area of Costa Rica which is unique in the world because of its geological origin. It's an area of Costa Rica from Santa Rosa and farther north, in between Santa Rosa and La Cruz, you find the Peninsula de Santa Elena, which is a site where you find rocks that formed in the oceanic crust. That's what makes it so special, that it formed really, really deep, and it shows the evidence of the rising, the geological rising of the country. There is a World Heritage Site in that north part of Guanacaste, which is the Guanacaste National Park, and Guanacaste and Santa Rosa, and the area of conservation of Guanacaste in general are probably the best preserved remnant of tropical dry forest on the Pacific side of the Americas. So it is a World Heritage Site. And of course, there is plenty of outdoor activities. Then the two photos that you see on the left side of the slide, that's in the Murciélagos Islands. The name Murciélago, that means bat. It doesn't mean that there are lots of bats over there. The main reason is the shape of the island. It looks like a bat. And it is a very, very beautiful place with pristine waters, very, very well preserved. The access there by boat could take from an hour to 2 hours, depending on where you depart from the Gulf of Papagayo or from the north side in La Cruz to reach these islands that belong to the area of conservation of Guanacaste. You see a picture of a hawksbill turtle there. I've seen octopus there. I've seen white-tip sharks, which are reef sharks, not dangerous when you go snorkeling in that area. And it's a good spot also for diving. Now moving on to our next slide. We're still in the North Pacific region, but now we're going to move to the southern part of the North Pacific region. We're going to get into the Peninsula de Nicoya, the upper part of the Peninsula de Nicoya. This area offers a lot of cultural activities off the beaten path. When people go to this part of the country, they go to very well-known beaches over there, and they spend and have a great time there. But there are one-day activities that you can do even if you're staying at the beach. If you don't want to stay in rural communities that offer some of the lodging, you can stay at the beach and come and visit some of these projects. The lower left photo is showing a woman that is working and showing the visitors the pottery, the typical and traditional pottery that the Chorotega natives of Costa Rica in pre-colonial times used to make. As you can see, it's very colorful. This is what we call the polychrome pottery. Poly meaning multiple, chrome colors, multiple colors. And this is Mesoamerican influence of our Chorotega groups that lived over there. They get the clay close to the communities of Guaitila and Santa Barbara. They get the natural colors also from the soil to dye their pottery. And people can learn the whole process, and they can even try to make some of the pottery. in Guayaquil and Santa Barbara near Santa Cruz. We also have the Barraonda caves on the lower right-hand side. Barraonda caves are different than the ones we saw in the northern plains, than Venado caves. This Barraonda is drier. It's in the middle of a tropical dry forest environment. And these ones have some vertical descents. Also, a great way of these caves is that you can support the local community of Quebrada Honda when you're going to visit this national park. The people from the community are the local guides that are providing the equipment also. Because this is a vertical descent, you need ropes and pulleys and special gear or equipment to descend into the Terciopelo cave, which is the most visited one. So you're supporting the local community as well. And then the picture in the middle, the lower part also, is Ostional Beach. Ostional is a place that is one of probably about 4 or 5 places in the world that you can get arribadas of turtles. When we say arribadas, what we mean is thousands of turtles that come within a time frame of about 3 days, close to full moon, with a peak season from June through September. That in some occasions you can get up to 150,000 olive ridley turtles coming within that 3-day time frame to lay eggs on a 6-kilometer or 3.6 mile beach. And this is a very good example also of a good management or conservation a project of sea turtles. Maybe some of you have seen a PowerPoint presentation that used to be going around talking about how bad Costa Rica was doing not protecting the turtles here, because there are pictures of people with sacks or big bags collecting the eggs and taking them out of the beach. That's part of the management project. If you get 150,000 turtles in 3 days in a 3.6 mile beach or 6-kilometer long beach, that means that the one that come the second day are going to destroy the nests that were built the first day, because there isn't enough room for so many of them. And just imagine that normally in many places you can go and see the turtles nesting in the dark. And look at this picture. I took this picture at 7 a.m., just before 7 a.m. And so you can see them pretty much all day long. Of course, you will not see as many during daylight as you see at night. That day I was asking, are there still turtles out there? And they said, not as many as at 3 a.m. I said, about how many do you think? They said, maybe 10,000. So imagine. Anyway, that's Ostional, and that's in the northern part of the peninsula Nicoya, but this is already Guanacaste south. From there, you can make your way south to other beautiful, pristine beaches like Garza and Guiones and Barrigona, Del Barco. There are beautiful places that are kind of isolated. They're accessible, but a little bit isolated. You do not find big, massive concrete construction there. So in many of those, you go and you feel that the place is right there to yourselves. And also, we have Nosara, known as a world-class wellness destination. It's a famous place for yoga retreats down there in Nosara. And this region of Nosara and Garza and Carrillo, Samara have access to more hotels and places to stay. But again, in between, there are many pristine and remote beaches that you can visit. And then on the upper right-hand side, there is a project that is run by a cooperative of women, which is a project based on solar energy, and that's on the way to Guayaquil, to the place where the pottery is made, actually close to Santa Barbara, another place where they have those workshops and they're making the pottery. Oh, sorry, I forgot, very important to talk about the blue zone that we have there in that region, in the peninsula, the Nicoya. Southern Guanacaste, Ojancha, and Mansion are some communities in the mountains farther south from Carrillo Beach and from Samara Beach, which is known as one of the 5 blue zones in the world. When we talk about blue zones, what we mean is those regions where longevity is just outstanding. We're talking about very, very, very isolated communities, maybe with 5,000 inhabitants in the community. There is not 10 people that are 100 years old plus. We're talking about more than 900 people in that region that are 100 years old or older than that, 103, 105, and so forth. So with Sardinia in Italy, with a place in Japan, another one in Greece, and then California and Costa Rica. These are the places that have, I believe in California is Monterey, the places where longevity is amazing. So it's good quality of life there. Now we're going to move on to another region of Costa Rica, to Punta Arenas and the Gulf Islands. We're moving farther south, still on the Pacific coast, still on the side of the peninsula de Nicoya. And if you don't mind, friends, if you could turn off your videos and audio, I will appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we are in the Punta Arenas and Gulf Islands, and what kind of attractions that are sort of off the beaten path can you find there? Well, Cerro Escondido, you see the waterfall on the photo there on the upper left side. Cerro Escondido is a rural community project very close to a private reserve. And up in those hills of Nicoya, you can find some interesting environments where it could be a little more humid. You can do some hiking there. Well, the place where you start, where you have to leave the bus to hike up to the Eco Lodge, it could take you about 1 hour. In between, you find this waterfall, and you can learn about their sustainability efforts. Then there is also the Kuru Wildlife Refuge. Kuru is a visited place when you're staying in the area of Tambor or other beaches farther south. That you see the list down there: Malpais, Santa Teresa, El Carmen, Montezuma. From those beaches, you can visit Kuru Wildlife Refuge. A wildlife refuge is a category of management that can have a community within the protected area, but they have to follow the rules of conservation. But it's a place where you can get a very good idea of a species of the tropical dry forest. We saw for about 20 minutes this beautiful ant here last December that we were taking a walk over there. It's a place that is family friendly. There are 2 or 3 hikes within the reserve, and you end up by a beautiful beach. Also, on the southern tip of the peninsula de Nicoya, we have the Cabo Blanco Biological Reserve, and that's a place that offers hikes from easy to moderate, a couple of hours hiking, to strenuous hikes that can last up to 6 hours. And you see the photo of Malpais down in the lower part of our slide. And from all those beaches, you can visit this biological reserve. There are waterfalls also in Montezuma. We're going to move on to on the next slide, still in the Punta Arenas and Gulf Islands. Here, I want to let you know that the 2 pictures on both extremes on the upper side of those waterfalls are located in between Tilarán and Monteverde Cloud Forest. So you might wonder, why are you placing those there in the Punta Arenas and Gulf Islands? Well, the reason is that Monteverde is classified as an attraction that is located in the Punta Arenas and Gulf Islands up by the mountains. But these 2 waterfalls, actually there are 3 in that area, that can make a very nice transition when you have your guests traveling from Arenal to Monteverde, and you don't want to take the whole stretch at once, and you kind of want to break it into 2. Adding an activity, you can visit Viento Fresco Falls there. It's a very nice walk, a little bit steep in some areas, so you do need some good skills for walking. I wouldn't call it a trek. It's still a walk or a hike, but with some little bit of strenuous conditions. By the way, in that same area, and I didn't mention it for the North Pacific when I spoke about Bagaces, there is another place called Cañas, a county of Guanacaste, that is kind of in between the North Pacific and the Punta Arenas and Gulf Islands too, and it's called the Cerro Pelado. It has become kind of popular among Costa Ricans, but not very visited by international tourism. And it takes you up to the summit of a really nice volcanic neck formation that has amazing views to all the northern plains. Anyway, friends, I'm putting here also the region of Avangares. Avangares is county of the province of Guanacaste. But when you make the transition coming from the Gulf of Nicoya, from the peninsula across the Gulf of Nicoya through La Amistad Bridge to reach the mainland, you get to the Avangares area, and the Gulf Islands. You see these photos there. They are taken from near a place called Colorado de Avangares. It's very well known to experience and explore the tropical dry forest, to do high quality birding, where you can see again tropical dry forest species, but also a lot of shore birds. And so the two pictures in the middle are in that area. You can take boat tours, tractor trips, and go walking and bird watching in the area. Or you can visit Venado Island and Cheetah Island. Those two places are in the middle of the Gulf of Nicoya, and there are communities organized there to welcome you, to tell you everything about what they do for living, how they do it. There is a cooperative also that does sustainable fishing in the Gulf of Nicoya, and women that work together as well in their projects, also getting product from the mangroves and conserving or preserving the mangroves. So Venado Island and Cheetah Island are places off the beaten path to visit within the Gulf of Nicoya. Moving south to the Central Pacific region of Costa Rica now. Here I'm going to talk about mainly these four places: Tivives, Turrubares, Londres, which is near Quepos, and Savegre River. What do you find here? You find a lot of rural community projects as well, where you can learn to cook. You can learn to make tortillas, as you can see on the upper left photo. Our visitors making corn tortillas, ceviche, which is a product of Peru that has become very popular in Latin America. We can make our own style ceviche using, instead of fish, green plantains, or using green mangoes to make our ceviches with cilantro, red peppers, and so forth. So it's a very nice culinary experience in rural communities in the Central Pacific that you can do from the area of Quepos. Then Tivives is an area that not many people visit, and it's very close to the port of Caldera and the port of Punta Arenas. It's a great destination for biking, and in low tide you can go down to the lower part, and you can walk through some caves. Maybe you can see a little bit of the entrance to a cave down where I have there the mouse pointing. And then when you're going from the Tárcoles River, where we have one of the largest concentration of crocodiles, to the Central Pacific, to Jaco Beach and Hermosa Beach, which are known destinations, Punta Leona, there is a place up in the mountains called Turrubares. As you start driving, making your way up, you're going to have amazing views to the Gulf of Nicoya, to the meanders of the Tárcoles River, as you can see in the third picture on the lower part, from left to right. The meanders of the Tárcoles River, the Gulf of Nicoya, some of the marine terraces that are amazing geological formations. Then there are waterfalls up there. There is a huge fault called Camaronal with very nice areas exposed, and you can see beautiful waterfalls. And you can take their students, or you can take people that really want to experience how people live in the rural communities. This is actually on the lower left, a group of students that were doing some research about diversity of amphibians in the area. And if you go to Quepos, and from Quepos towards the southern Pacific region, towards Dominical, you can access the Savegre River, which starts actually up in the highlands, but it makes it all the way to the Pacific side. And you can practice some activities, whitewater, for example, in that beautiful river. But again, there are rural communities there where people will share with you, families that live there will share with you their daily basis lifestyle and culture. I continue down now to the South Pacific of Costa Rica, and you might be wondering, wait, why do you have the Chirripó Mountain on the upper left of the slide there? Why Chirripó Mountain on the South Pacific? The reason why I placed it there is because Chirripó has different ways to access the national park. It is the highest peak of Costa Rica at 12,500 feet above sea level, or about 3,820 meters above sea level. But you can access Chirripó through San Jerónimo, which is farther south, and you can connect that area to continue your way down to Buenos Aires and your way towards San Vito or Corcovado National Park. So that's one way to exit Chirripó National Park, or you can access it through that area too and get the support from local communities in terms of lodging and food and so forth. That's why I placed it over there. Also, we have the picture on the upper right-hand side is Ventanas Beach. That's very close to Uvita and Marino Ballena National Park, which are the three pictures on the lower part of the slide. Marine Whale National Park is an area that protects whales. It's just a coincidence that it got that shape that you see in the middle photo on the lower part that has the shape of a whale tail. It's just casuality that it's an amazing spot to see whales over there from August, September, a little bit of October. That's the peak season to see the whales there. The Moses Path, the lower right picture you see there, is also that path that you see in the middle. And we call it Moses Path because when the high tide comes, the waters get connected right there and it's impossible to walk through. So this is basically a land bridge of sediment that connected the mainland to an ancient island. Then we have Naujaca Falls. That's a beautiful place. It's a set of 3 different waterfalls that have been exposed to a structural control by the geology of Costa Rica and the seismic activity with some blocks that collapsed in the past. And then it changed the waterbed of a river and created this set of 3 different levels of waterfalls, all connected, Naujaca Falls. And you can visit that when you're staying in the area of Uvita Beach and Ventanas. Then Olan is a place that also has become very popular in the last years that many of us Costa Ricans did not know. And it has that beautiful chapel that you see in the picture in the middle on the right hand side. And it could be a good 3-hour hike to reach Olan and going up, gaining some elevation to get to experience some rainforest and some humid environment. In that region also, there is Los Cusingos, which was where one person that we respect a lot in our country, he made a lot of research and made one book that is used by Costa Rican naturalist guides. This is a place where he used to live. He passed away. He was over 90 years old, but he wrote the book of birds of Costa Rica, the guidebook of birds of Costa Rica. It's now under the administration of the Tropical Science Center, and it's a place that you can visit for bird watching. Wilson Botanical Gardens, also in San Vito de Cotobruz, more towards the border with Panama, is a very interesting place to visit to learn about the flora and the fauna of Costa Rica. Moving on to the next slide now. We're heading still in the South Pacific, but farther south, including an exploration to the Peninsula de Nicoya, both sides of the Gulf of Dulce, Peninsula de Osa, not Nicoya, I'm sorry. From Peninsula de Osa, and also the interior side next to the Gulf of Dulce is Golfito. So there are some communities that you can visit and explore there. When you're making your way from the previous slide that we were showing Uvita and that region, or if you're coming from San Jose through the Pan American Highway to make your way to the Peninsula de Osa, to Sierpe and Drake Bay, you're going to be driving by Finca 6. And what is Finca 6? The upper left picture there is showing you some stone spheres, which is a big mystery still. And it's a place that was declared, or the stone sphere itself was declared World Heritage by UNESCO recently, 3-4 years ago. And those stone spheres, the largest one in diameter they have found is 2.5 kilometers in diameter. So 2.5 meters, not kilometers, I'm sorry, 2.5 meters in diameter. That means about 7 feet in diameter, the stone spheres. And those are made of a type of material that one of the mysteries is the material does not necessarily exist in the areas of the peninsula where it has been found. And so how did the natives move the material there to work and make that to make those stone spheres perfectly round if they did not use any metal before the Spanish conquistadors arrived here. You can visit also indigenous reservations, indigenous communities, Borucas, Guaymias, the Ngobe communities, and visit and practice some of their traditions like Los Diablitos festivity that they celebrate to keep some of the traditions. Then there are some cacao plantations down there too, as you can see in the second picture from top to bottom on the left side. That's what the cacao, the cocoa looks like. And they're going to explain everything about it. You know, cacao is native to the Amazon basins. It was a popular product in pre-colonial times in Central America as well. So you can learn all about it. You can go and visit a rural community projects where they will teach you how they used to extract the gold, because in the Peninsula de Osa, there was a lot of gold that was extracted. Now many regions are national park, they are protected. That's considered the new treasure of Costa Rica, because according to National Geographic, Corcovado is the most biologically intense place on earth. But outside of the park and by the perimeter of the park, you can still share with communities and families and entrepreneurs and learn their tours. Okay, I see that someone is having problems hearing me. I will appreciate a quick report if everyone is having problems hearing me. Adri, can you hear me properly? Okay, I'm going to continue. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, yes. Okay, you can hear. Thank you. Thank you for the report. Yeah, check your audio if you cannot hear me. Thank you, Johnny, too. Okay, so friends, again, local communities then have been organizing groups that offer different types of products, from visiting the indigenous reservation, learning the traditions, to visiting people that used to work on getting gold from the peninsula, and they show you all the process and tell you everything about how it is processed, how much it costs to sell it, to bring it to the market, and so forth. And then if you continue farther south, not on the peninsula de Osa anymore, but now down to the Punta Burica, which is the farthest southern point of Costa Rica. On the way to Punta Burica, you're going to find other very pristine beaches. And 2 weeks ago, we spoke about Pavones, which is the picture on the lower left. That is known, that day we were talking about adventure tours, and we mentioned that this is considered the second longest left break point in the world, meaning the waves break by refraction currents here when they hit the mainland, and they break towards the left side, and the waves are very long, so they can be ridden for quite a good amount of time. So then Zancudo Beach and Punta Banco, I mean, it's places that transport you to an environment that you kind of feel like you're discovering it. Okay, now we're gonna move on to Cerro de la Muerte. This is the highlands in between the Central Valley of Costa Rica and the South Pacific. We're making our transition to arrive to the Central Valley and to be getting close to finish with our webinar. I would say maybe 10 more minutes before we're done with this. So Cerro de la Muerte is an area up in the highlands located at 11,400 feet above sea level, or that's some 3,400 meters above sea level. Right there you can find cloud forest. You can see the photos, very pristine forest. Cloud forest is what you find in other parts of Costa Rica, like Poás volcano, for example, like Monteverde cloud forest. Okay. Let me see. I found the screen that popped up on my, okay, here we go. Okay, so once again, a quick reminder, if some of you are leaving, this presentation will be available on our YouTube channel. We'll make sure that we let you know. Anyway, you can do hiking, you can do trekking, and hiking, there are some trails in this cloud forest near Cerro de la Muerte in San Gerardo de Dota, for example, where you can take some walks for 2 hours, for an hour and a half. Or if you start walking from the antennas right by the Pan American Highway, you can make a good 6-hour hike, 5 to 6 hour hike that will come down. Excuse me 1 second. Perdón. No están viendo la pantalla. Ok. La comparto de nuevo. Ok, voy a iniciar. Ok. Gracias, Adri. Sorry, friends. Okay, that's what I saw, that my presentation came out. So I'm going to go back to share the presentation, and I'll make sure that I don't skip the slide that I was talking about. You see, this right here, I show. Okay, can you see now? If you can write a quick text. Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Adri. Okay, that's excellent, great. I was on this slide, I think we didn't skip anything before this one. So cloud forest, trekking and hiking are activities that you can do in the Cerro de la Muerte and San Gerardo de Dota area, visiting waterfalls, visiting what is considered the most pristine and the cleanest river in Central America, the Savegre River. So in another slide that we were talking about the Central Pacific, we were saying that you could visit the Savegre River from the lower part. This is where it starts, up in the mountains, in the Cerro de la Muerte. Still in this region of Cerro de la Muerte, we get to an area called Los Santos. Los Santos means the saints. Why the saints? Because the communities there are all named after saints. Santa Maria, Santa Elena, San Gerardo, San Marcos. So that's why it's called the saints. It's up in the highlands, still at very high elevations, 8,000 to 11,000 feet. Okay, thank you to all of you who have to live. Thank you for being here. You'll have access to this presentation on our YouTube channel. So in Los Santos, we have birding, we have agrotourism, coffee tours as well. A lot of people come to Costa Rica if they're birded looking for the resplendent quetzal. Believe me, Los Santos is a region where you have very high chances to see the resplendent quetzal at an off the beaten path location or place. Agrotourism, visiting communities where they have these farms where they have the trout fish. Then coffee plantations. We have the coffee that was the one that was paid the most. I believe it was maybe 5 years ago or so in an international contest. So the coffee that was paid the most for its high quality, and it came from there, from Los Santos. That's a red-faced bird. I don't know if that's the one they took as a model for the Angry Birds game. Moving on to the Central Valley, we are in areas that you can access even staying in San Jose or Heredia or Alajuela. And then you can learn about Costa Rican traditions. We have organic farms up in the highlands on the south, maybe within 30-40 minutes from the capital, from San Jose, and rural community that you can visit. You can learn how to make coffee the old-fashioned way, chorreado, as we say, where you put the ground coffee on the bag and then you just pour the hot water and you get very tasty coffee. You can taste delicious Costa Rican meals, and you can learn how to make the brown sugar in some trapiches. So this is in the southern part of Costa Rica, in an area called Acerrí, and then in Acosta. Those are regions south of San Jose where you can go and visit these families and learn all about it, and go to their backyards and see how they grow their products. Organic production of cacao or chocolate that are made of organic chocolate, which means that the already sustainable product that the chocolate is gets more sustainable there. And still in the Central Valley, you can also have access to rural community projects on the northern flank of the Central Valley. San Jose and the main cities, San Jose, Heredia, La Juela, and Cartago are in the Central Valley. So on both flanks, where you find the mountains, you have access to rural community projects. The chocolate farms near San Isidro de Heredia that also support local farmers on the Caribbean lowlands, and they purchase their products from there. Okay, then the Mascarada, that's in Escazú. Escazú is the south part of San Jose, an interesting place where you find some high-income suburbs, but also up in the highlands, you can go and get some of the most known traditions of Costa Rica. The Mascaradas are part of the festivities when they celebrate the patron saint days. And even an indigenous reservation can be visited, the Huetares, near Puriscal, again, within 1 hour from San Jose, and you can practice some of the rituals with them. 3 more slides to finish. We're now in the Central Valley in the region of Cartago. And this is an area where you have access to national parks. The river that you see there and the waterfall, that's in Tapanti Rainforest. Tapanti is the farthest end of the Orosi Valley. And it's another hotspot for birding, but it's also a beautiful place just to go and hike through the rainforest. Still in the Central Valley from San Jose, you have access to it, or there are plenty of options of places to stay within the Orosi Valley, where you can take walks for 30 minutes to an hour, couple of hours, and explore Tapanti, which means in Navajo language, torrential rain, but you can see that you get blue skies there too. Then this is the way, again, at Trapiches in Orosi Valley near the lake, where they can show you how they make the brown sugar. And we have hot springs in the Orosi Valley too. There are beautiful hot springs that are overlooking the Orosi Valley, and that on clear days you can see both Irasu and Turrialba volcanoes. And even if you're lucky enough and the Turrialba volcano is erupting, you can see the mushroom clouds there, or the clouds of gases. So waterfalls, agrotourism, national parks, hot springs, and outdoors there. Why am I putting a picture of Irasu volcano? Many people know about it. Irasu became more popular after Boaz volcano erupted in 2017, when they had to close the national park for more than a year. And so it has become a popular destination. Irasu is actually one of the volcanoes that gives you more chances to see the summit clear. Even if you're in San Jose or in Cartago and you see that it's cloudy, don't worry, make your way to the top, because you most likely are going to go through the clouds and you're going to get above the clouds, and you have good chances to see the crater of Irasu. But on the way there is plenty of farms. This is where we grow 65% of the vegetables of Costa Rica. So you can see people preparing the land, as you see in the picture there in the middle. You can see already the products growing. You can see some ways how they harvest with the oxen. And there is a place, or several places there, where they sell flowers and ornamental plants for exportation, or where they produce them. And these are all sites that you can visit in the north side of Cartago, and connect from there to Turrialba, which is on the east side of the Central Valley too. You can go either hiking and see coffee plantations, or biking to make your way to Turrialba. And here is Turrialba on the eastern Central Valley. And Turrialba offers the Turrialba volcano, waterfalls in Aquiares River and Aquiares Falls, outdoors like trekking or hiking or biking, agrotourism as well. You see this picture of the eruption in Turrialba volcano. Of course, we have regulations now to visit the Turrialba volcano on the lower right side. This is the volcano that is considered the most active of Costa Rica since 2010. When the activity slowed down in Arenal, this is the one that got more active, and occasionally there are still some eruptions that happen. So of course the crater, the access to the summit is not available now, but visiting that area can take you to a very nice rural experience, seeing a lot of dairy farms. Actually, Turrialba is known for the quality of its cheese. And this is the last slide, still in the area of Turrialba. Turrialba has the Angostura Lake, where they built a second, or another, sorry, hydroelectric plant in Costa Rica. Very important for its size and the amount of energy that it produces. There are beautiful views in some of the places where you can learn also about the macadamia production, about coffee production, sugarcane. Turrialba, the people from Turrialba are known as azucareros because they grow a lot of sugarcane. And we have the archaeological site of Guayabo. I mentioned at the beginning that Costa Rica is not known for having big indigenous empires in pre-colonial times. We're not, but that doesn't mean that we don't have amazing archaeological evidence from pre-colonial times. We became a cultural bridge between Mesoamerica and South America, between the North and the South. So here you find influence from both sides. Gold from South America and how to work it, jade from Mesoamerica, from Guatemala and Honduras, and they learned how to work it. So this archaeological monument, Guayabo, this was the immigration site, the access to the city right there in the archaeological site of Guayabo. They have explored only about 8 hectares or 20 acres, but it's bigger than that. And the mounds that you see here, they used to bring rocks from the rivers to build mounds so that they could build their gazebos on top of it and they could avoid the problem of floodings during the rainy season. Friends, on behalf of Grupo Pro Imagen, I want to thank you for taking the time. I am sorry that I took a little longer, but actually I could not really talk about all the product that we have in the country. We were trying to make a quick wrap up of what is off the beaten path in Costa Rica. So now we go to the section of questions. I'm going to stop sharing this presentation. I will open my video here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I understand the ones that had to leave. I know it took a little longer, but if you have questions, pura vida, dear friends. I know that we're gonna come back stronger from this situation. If it doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger. Is what Nietzsche said, the philosopher. So if you have questions, I'm going to type here while you start asking questions the 2 official websites where you can check for official information about the situation with COVID. Just so you know, friends, the country is planning to open international borders on June 15th. Here, the decisions are made little by little. They keep reading the results, how the situation is showing in the country. And we're very proud to say that the management of the situation has been very efficient by the authorities, and that our people in the Congress are not working for the interest of their political parties. They have been working together for to make the best decisions for our country. So June 15th is when the borders are going to be open. They started opening some national parks at a 50% capacity, and they will be announcing also when some of the other tourism activities will be opening. Just so you know, hotels with less than 20 rooms already opened. And yes, if you have any more questions about the off the beaten path destinations, fine. I'll be waiting for those. Okay, Dick, what are the international airports in Costa Rica? Thank you for the question. That's super important. And as Adri just wrote here, 2 things. If you need more information, just send us an email to info2@proimagencostarrica.com. She just wrote it there. And then the international airport that will be starting the operation will be only the Juan Santa Maria Airport to start with, which is the one in Alajuela, very close to San Jose. And the reason is the government wants to keep as much control as possible, so the Liberia Airport will not be opened on June 15th yet. When they open, will there be distancing? Yes, this is something that they're working on all the protocols, and actually every sector of our economy has been presenting the protocols to the authorities so that they can be approved. Actually, this is a question that I got asked also on the Adventure Tours webinar, that what was going to be the protocol for zip lining and so forth. That one has not been out yet. So please keep checking the www.visitcostarica.com website, and there you will get updated information on a daily basis about when those activities that mean more contact between people will be allowed and what are those restrictions. Okay, so I'm writing down here the other website, which is www.ministeriodesalud.go and for government.cr. And on that website, you're going to get information every day, and it will be in English. I mean, it's in Spanish, but there is the option there for you to click English, to click French, also in case that we have people here joining us from the French speaking part of Canada. Thank you, Des. My pleasure. If you have more questions, I'm here happy to answer. Okay. The website again. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to write the two websites here. Okay. Our website, friends, that is where you can also look for this webinar. It will be uploaded. Is www.proimagencostarica.com. Okay, that's our website. And then let's see, public transportation through the country. Yes, thank you for the question about the public transportation through the country. This is one of those that they are regulating now, recommending the use of masks when you come to public transportation, which is available. Yes, it is available for people. So they're having some protocols or asking for some protocols to follow that you're going to find on the website of visitcostarica.com, which is the tourism board. Visitcostarica.com. Best time to visit Costa Rica. Okay, excellent question, Jennifer. So Costa Rica is a place that because we are located close to the tropics, we're exposed only to 2 seasons. We're exposed to the green season and the dry season. So pretty much all year round is that you can visit our country because the mountains are in the center of the country. That divides the country into microclimates in different regions, but pretty much all year round is that you can visit Costa Rica. You only need to ask for advice from your partners, and remember our affiliate members here in Asociación Pro Imagen. There are tour operators as well that can support you with that, and so they can let you know which regions are better in which times of the year. Many guidebooks talk about the dry season being December through April and rainy season May through November. It all depends on where in the country you're going to be. But once again, the main variation from one season to the other is the average rainfall. The temperature remains very stable all year round. Did any hotels close? Are they all open? So yeah, hotels all closed, but now, and it started on the 15th of this month by instructions of the Ministry of Health of Costa Rica, that hotels with less than 20 rooms were allowed to open at a 50% capacity. So the opening of Costa Rica will happen in 4 stages within the next 80 days. Every 2 weeks, they're going to be announcing the new policies of the government and the new instructions on who can open and who cannot open. So, but within the next 80 days, actually now 70 days, there will be 4 different stages for the opening of different activities of our economy. Okay, see if there are more questions. My pleasure, my pleasure. Look forward to reviewing this with the link you gave us. Okay, my pleasure, Dick. Jennifer, thanks everyone for participating. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer the questions. Okay. Gracias, con mucho gusto, Richie. Pura vida, everyone. Okay. Thank you so much, Donna. My pleasure. Okay. I'm sending your way good vibrations and the pura vida spirit. That means pure life. Remember magnetic thinking. When you think positive, that's what you attract to your lives. We're going to be fine. We're going to be good. And we're going to come out stronger. Will this be recorded to share with others in the office? Yes, Donna, this will be available on the YouTube channel of Proimagen Costa Rica. So, Michelle, my pleasure, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Pura vida, Ruth. Mucha información. Thank you. Thank you. I am sorry if I'm not reading some of your messages. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Every day is good and the rest are better. I love that. Think positive. I love that, Dick. Thank you. Great. Awesome. Okay, friends. Yeah, please check our Facebook page. Tomorrow we will post the recording. So on the Facebook page of Proimagen Costa Rica. Check it out tomorrow. We're going to be posting this. If some of you have to leave, I won't be offended. Thank you actually for your time. Okay. Okay. Dear friends, it has been my pleasure. Thank you. I have enjoyed working on this webinar, and I look forward to seeing you in Costa Rica and to start traveling again. So once again, good luck. Best wishes to all of you, and God bless you and God bless your families. Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna. Wish everyone better days. Same to you. Thank you. Pura vida. Thank you. Sí, ma.